people were injured. So yeah, I mean that's really sad. That's a horrible story. Uh, but here on this is on South Park. Now this came out on November 18th, so a few days before the actual event took place. And this is the trailer for the new season, the first look at the new season. And this is what you see. I slowed it down a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see it. I am sharing my screen, right? It's been a while. I need to get back on my game here. Let me make sure. Okay, it looks like we're going. Okay, so this is, I'll play it. Oh, there it goes. You may have missed it. I'll play it a couple times. So yeah, you have this like parade of people. I don't know the context of this clip, but there's a lot of people on the street, kind of parade looking, right? And then you see the red car, and it's even a red car. So out of all the colors, it's not a red SUV, but it is a red car plowing into people. You see him plowing into that guy. So is this a case of predictive programming? I mean, it seems that that would be the case. But again, hold on, I'll just slow it down one more time for you guys. And there he goes, plowing into people. So yeah, this was days before the actual event happened. And now, yeah, you could say that this is predictive programming. This is them hiding the truth in plain sight, revelation of the method, which is a good possibility. I mean, I definitely think that's a thing that happens. I mean, it also could be that these people, the people who create these shows are somehow connected to this weird evil world, and they get this information, through.
The book of 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse. Know this also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the head apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to all the sincere Akim and Akwat who do subscribe to this truth. A hearty shalom to the men out there on the highways and byways, highways and hedges, preaching and teaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom, now more so than ever, especially in these times, making their bodies a living sacrifice out there on the highways and byways, highways and hedges, with the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy, which allows those men to go into the scriptures and bring out understanding and edification on a high level. And last but not least, a hearty shalom to the Men of Valor Camp, New Jersey, NYC, South Carolina, Las Vegas, San Antonio, the DTA camp as well, Philly, Baltimore, Jersey, NYC, Atlanta, the first camps I ever heard the truth from, Isaiah 62 verses 6 through 7. Those that make mention of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, keep not silence, and give him no rest day or night. To Jerusalem is a praise in the earth. So this is Brother Ashamath from the Watchman on the Coast out here in San Diego, back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Adon Rathazah, Yahweh Rathazah, Abba Rathazah, the lesson is edifying. Lord's will, the lesson is edifying. And with no further ado, let's jump right into another video that goes into the coming accusation that Esau is looking to pin against the church, which is the spiritual temple, and enchantments that he's looking to justify that persecution with, which is all, baloney. But once again, Esau Edom just being sloppy, putting it out there in cartoons, in plain sight for those that have the eyes to see. But let's go into this next video.
Look at this connection. This man is a self-described black Israelite. Now what this is a group that believes they are the true Jews. Now, this is his words. This is on November 13, 2015. He posted this poster with text on it. The has Adolf Hitler on it that says Hitler knew who the real Jews were. Now, he said this is the real thing right here. This is research. Clearly this man has some foreign ideologies. Clearly this man has some specific motivations. I can't be stupid enough just to believe what the police have said, that there is no evidence. What have we just shown you? This man's connection to the Black Israelites is interesting because, again, if you think back to the Covington boys, the ones that were protesting but then were harassed and defamed and then ultimately became millionaires, Nicholas Sandmann was also getting entails with a Black Israelite. They have a record of violence and justifying it on themselves. Clearly, in this case, there's a connection in addition to the mass murder. Now, as of the recording of this report, there are 5 dead, 40 wounded, and 18 children who are fighting for their lives right now. Any sane American who's seen that video of that SUV plowing through the crowd.
And there goes Esau Edom with his enchantments, using black, as the narrative. When there is no such thing as black or white people, That's all a veil he threw out there to cover the nation's true nationalities. There's 18 nations of people, There's no such thing as white people. That goes, the people who you look like so-called white people predominantly, go back to the nation of Edom. There's no such thing as black people. The so-called Negroes in Babylon the Great go back to the tribe of Judah for the most part, because you're going to have tares and you're going to have Israelite foreigners on the other side who look like so-called white people who actually go back to the 12 tribes of Israel, But that's all, Esau Edom is looking for weak, deceptive people out there to bite on the narrative. And he's going to come with more enchantments. And it's not going to be fair. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to look, like a terribly produced, B or C quality movie. But you're going to have a lot of people fall for it. Let's play one last clip. This is from the elder Yashawamba out there in Dallas. Because they have conflicting reports with this guy, And there was another video that I was watching this morning from the news out here in San Diego. And this guy allegedly, after he did what he did, allegedly, went to somebody's porch, and begged them to come in, talking about he was homeless and this and that. Who would do that after you just put a whole bunch of people to death and ran a whole bunch of people over? Wouldn't you flee across state lines or something like that? But let's play this real quick.
But as we say, Jake has a lot of misguided emotions. Now, we believe that this is an enchantment and this is fake because it's all over the place. Case in point, this is the supposed driver. Someone else posted this photo of the driver. Now, like I said, they put stuff out there all the time to throw you off. Esau is always all over the place, but this is supposedly the guy. Right here. And that's damn sure not the same guy in the photo. Becky Miller, which Esau's always going to go hard for Jake. Okay. Carol Makrowitz says Daryl E. Brooks, black male, late 30s, is suspect in custody, and Waukesha, Noah Waukesha, I believe that's a Native American name. It says someone else posted this photo of the driver. Doesn't look like a black man to me. Well, who knows? Either way it goes, the damage is done. And these are the times we need. Ultimately, Esau come with it. We told you that they were going to do these types of things.
And it's just sloppy, man. You know, I mean, literally, you have a cartoon, snitching on Esau, man. Literally, just putting it out there. Let's play it again. Let's read this. This is from the elder out there in Las Vegas, Elder Karataza, GMS Vegas sit downs. And this is the book of 2 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter and the 11th verse. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And Esau Edom, he's a liar. So what is he going to do? Lie and lie and lie and lie and lie again.
Injured. So yeah, I mean, that's really sad. The screen, right? It's been a while. So you have this like parade of people. I don't know the context of this clip, but there's a lot of people on the street kind of parade.
And in the first video that I played, I think the second video, it said that it was 5 people that was dead, but now it's 6 people that were dead, that are dead now, basically. And you have a Edomite child, that's died, and they're trying to use that to play on the heartstrings of people. And in the video I was watching from the news that they played, they said that the people were going to church and they just came from church and they just, got read a beautiful passage by, Edomite pastor, so on and so forth, just playing on the heartstrings of people. And a lot of people are going to fall for the narrative,
Looking right. And then you see the red car, and it's even a red car. So out of all the colors, it's not a red SUV, but it is a red car plowing into people. You see him plowing into that guy. So is this...
And this little clip looks like a child gets hit as well,
the case of predictive programming? I mean, it seems that would be the case. But again, hold on, I'll just slow it down one more time for you guys. And there he goes, plowing into people. So yeah, this was days before the actual...
So let's go to the book of 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse all over again. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. And if you look this up in the blue letter, as far as the word perilous, I'll just show it to you real quick. It's Strong's 5467. Chalapalos.
Strong's G 5467. Chalepas.
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 That's how it's pronounced in the Greek. And if you go down to the Strong's definitions, it gets interesting. It says, through the idea of reducing the strength. And that's what Esau Edom wants to do. He wants to reduce the strength of the momentum of building the spiritual temple, just like he did before, when he helped sack the first temple with the Babylonians and then the second temple in Jerusalem, 70 AD. Looking to do it all over again, looking to frustrate our purpose and looking to paint a narrative that's not completely true at all. Difficult, dangerous, furious, fierce, perilous, fierce, perilous, hard to do, to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. And that's, going into the times that we're coming in. Jacob's trouble, where things are going to be on a totally different level. And ultimately, these things have to happen. Esau Edom has to accuse us. He has to come with all sorts of false narratives, false flags, false flag events. You may see another event where a group of people or friends just do something, We have to keep our eyes open for these type of things and warn the flock and also comfort the flock. And this happened before. Let's go into the Great Fire of Rome. So the Great Fire of Rome was an urban fire that occurred in July 64 AD. The fire began in the merchant shops around Rome's Chariot Stadium, Circus Maximus. On the night of the 18th of July, after 6 days, the fire was brought under control. And as I was reading this is pretty spiritual because I seen the word chariot in there, and then you see the word 6, and then you see 2/3. Beautiful. You know, after 6 days, the fire was brought under control. But before the damage could be assessed, the fire reigned and burned for another 3 days. In the aftermath of the fire, 2/3 of Rome had been destroyed. And when Jacob's trouble, is all over with, and the fire hits Babylon the Great, 2/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be destroyed. And the elect is going to be beamed up in chariots. As I was reading this, I thought about that. Spiritual. According to Tacitus and later Christian tradition, Emperor Nero blamed the devastation on the Christian community in the city. And just to add a little bit of edification, let's go to the book of Acts. Slakia 11, and let's start with the 25th verse. Yep. Let's start around the 20, let me see. Let's start around the 22nd verse. Yep. Then tidings of these things came unto the ears of the church, which was in Jerusalem. And they sent forth Barnabas that he should go as far as Antioch, who, when he came and had seen the grace of the Most High, was glad and exhorted them all that the purpose of heart they would cleave unto the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshai. For he was a good man and full of the Holy Spirit and of faith, and much people was added unto the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshai. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul, and when they had found him, they brought him to Antioch. And it came to pass for a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. So the disciples were called Christians because they followed the teachings of our Lord Yahweh Shai. And they were called Christians to mock them, in the form of them teaching the resurrection and them teaching, about the Messiah, which was a new doctrine to them, and they called them Christians to mock them as far as, look at those guys, followers of the anointed, the anointeds. Let's read this again. According to Tacitus and later Christian tradition, Emperor Nero blamed the devastation on the Christian community in the city, initiating the empire's first persecution against the Christians. And this later led to the persecution of the church, where you had, Paul beheaded, Peter crucified upside down, you know, John the Baptist, you know, who was already beheaded. You know, he was beheaded before this happened, better yet, you know. John the Revelator, you know. And what were they doing? They were prophesying against the Roman Empire. And what are the servants and prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai doing in these last days? Who are continuing in the apostles' doctrine, prophesying against Rome 2.0. So you're going to have these same type of incidents pop up in the form of them accusing the brethren falsely to try to persecute the church and eventually come after the prophets. And this all has to happen, you know. And there are going to be more false flags and more events. And it's going to be more sloppy, man, you know. And it's not going to be fair, you know. They're going to lie and call us all sorts of, you know, things under the sun, pedophiles, murders, you know, murders of children, you know, when it's actually the other way around. And the scriptures talk about it. Let's go into the scriptures and wrap on up. So Psalms, the 50th chapter and the 19th verse. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. And that's all these Edomites do. Lie after lie after lie after lie, you know. And they use their medium, which is a channeling agent, you know, from the wicked elites to the general public to put their spell on people, you know. And that's what they're doing with this latest little incident, man. Who knows that man that they're parading around with the Studio Dinkin ass dreads actually did it or not. But if he did, hey, you know, we don't condone or are for, you know, taking vengeance into your own hands. The scriptures go into that as far as waiting upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and not to avenge yourselves. Psalms 50 and 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. And who's that talking about? That's talking about Esau slandering Jacob. You know, going back to Cain and Abel, and then going back to Eve and the serpent. The serpent beguiled Eve, and then at the end, he blamed Eve, you know. Cain killed Abel, and then what did he say to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai? What did he say to the Lord? Well, am I my brother's keeper? You know. Jacob finessed Esau out of the blessing and out of the birthright, you know. And then what did Esau do? You know, he blamed Jacob, just like what's happening in these last days, man. You know, we're teaching and preaching in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, waking up the hopeful elect. And what's Esau looking to do? Accuse the brother, man. You know, slander his own mother's son. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Just like what happened in Rome. Just like what happened a few days ago. It happened in Rome, you know, in the form of Esau, Edom, making up a narrative, creating an event, and then blaming it on the servants and prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and then using that as justification to come after, you know, the disciples. Same thing he's doing now, creating a false narrative, you know, false flag events, the Jersey shooting, Ortho Wallace, you know, the situation where the guy ran up on the Capitol with a knife, you know, and he was a Muslim one day, and the next day he was reading the book of Revelation. He's going to use the spiritual power that he has in the left-hand side of lying, deception, and then his his blessing as far as having the fatness of the earth and the media to advance those lies, you know, to the point where they look true, you know. But is the lie true? Is the lie true, E? No. But these things have to happen. And it's a watchman's duty to call them out and expose these things for what they are. And every single time these incidents pop up, the servants and the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yashai are there to defend the gospel and to expose all the holes in their story. Ecclesiastes 1 and 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? And this is not new. This is a characteristic of Esau, Edom, you know? Lying, making up bullshit, switching the narrative, you know? Doing all sorts of wickedness in the earth and then flipping the story around and pointing at you and then blaming it on you, man. No new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. I'm going to read it again. Slake. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. And this has happened before, time after time after time. Hell, he came, you know, and landed in the Caribbean, you know, ran into our brothers, you know, the tribe of Simeon and the tribe of Reuben, and then launched a mass genocide, and then 400 years later, switched the narrative around and called them and called our brothers savages, called them murderers, called them uncivilized, when it was the other way around, and then created a holiday to mock and scoff the slaughter of Reuben, Gad, and all the indigenous tribes, man. Created baseball teams, you know, to mock, football teams to mock, college football team mascots mocking. No new thing under the sun, man. Romans 15:4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. And we can go into these accounts in the scriptures and learn about what happened, you know, aforetime, in the form of the serpent and Eve, Cain and Abel, Esau and Jacob, the persecution, you know, that later followed the incidents in Rome, you know. Which is secular history. But you can learn about these things by looking into what happened in the past. Matthew 5 and 10, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And he's going to not stop, you know. He's going to play this narrative as far as this latest event, you know, to the max and see how far he can go. And he's going to come down with more false flags, man. Expect it. Matthew 5 and 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you for my name's sake. I'm going to read it again, Matthew 5 and 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. And what are they saying in that video? You know, what was the narrative right there as far as the, let's see, they hit me. All right, cool. Slack it. Had a video that was taken down the day before, and I just wanted to see if they hit me on this channel because it's still up on this channel, Salakia. But what were they saying about this guy?
Look out.
They said anti-white terrorism. Well, that's false information right there. There's no such thing as white. Pedophile black Israelite murders Christians. You know, the Christians, that was a term that was used by the enemies of the church, the enemies of the disciples, to make fun of them. And those disciples were all Israelites, And what do they call them? A pedophile. Well, isn't that a common theme amongst, men that don't have the 100% truth? To blame, and put a narrative around, a certain sect. I mean, right there in front of your face. Stand now without enchantments, If so, you may prevail, but you're not going to be able to prevail. Matthew 5:12, rejoice and be exceeding glad. Just like when the apostles were beat, for teaching in the name of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, after they were told not to teach in the name, they rejoiced and they were glad that they were worthy to suffer for his name's sake. We got to be in that same spirit, rejoice when these things come. We still have to expose and do our work and poke holes in their story and find where the holes are in their story and bring light to them, but rejoice that these things are happening. That means that we're one step closer, one step closer. Matthew 5:12, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Jeremiah was thrown in jail, falsely. The apostles caught hell out there in the highways and byways and highways and hedges. No new thing under the sun. Matthew 5:13, ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its Savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. And where's that trodden underfoot mentioned? In the Apocrypha, the book of Second Ezra, the 16th chapter. Let's just get it real quick. Those that consent. Second Ezra 16. I want to say 60. I want to say 70. That might be 69. Yep. Second Ezra 16 to 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden under foot. Which is going to happen to the 2/3, And certain men will be martyrs. They'll have to, walk that path, and they'll have to, do what they have to do. But you're going to have a lot of men, who are put under the spell of Esau, Edom, and fooled. So-called Israelites, man, who are going to blame and point the finger at us as well, and actually believe the narrative. But let your conversation be sprinkled with salt, man. Whether they were here or for bear. No matter what the consequences are, Matthew 5:14, ye are the light of the world. A city that is on a hill cannot be hid. And what were we supposed to do? Publish, conceal not. This light, this truth, this doctrine. Jeremiah the 50th chapter. The word of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai spake against Babylon. And what's Babylon? Well, Babylon is Babylon the Great, And Just get the classic real quick. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries. What were the disciples doing who were called Christians in Antioch doing? They were prophesying against the Roman Empire. You know? What was Jeremiah doing? Prophesying against ancient Babylon. You know? What was Noah doing? You know? Prophesying against those people, man, who were going to die in the flood, man. You know? What were Moses and Aaron doing? Prophesying against ancient Egypt. Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. That's the legacy of the prophets. Jeremiah 50:1, the word that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai spoke against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Publish and conceal not. Jeremiah 50:2, declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. And that's the report. You know, Babylon is taken, man. The writings on the wall. Only 2 more major prophecies to be fulfilled before this place is through. The pushing of the RFID implantable microchip and the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai in the midst of World War III. That's what we're waiting on, man. And you have other prophecies that are set to happen. The famine, Jacob's trouble, you know. Bel is confounded. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, we're casting down all these strongholds, man. Exposing all your wickedness. You know, Merodach is broken in pieces. This place is through, man. Her idols are confounded. You know, this gospel is tearing down all those strongholds and removing the veil of the covering cast of the nations. You know, we're telling Esau to his face, declaring his ways to his face and telling him who he is. You know, as well as the other nations. Declare ye among the nations and publish. These other nations are finding out who they are through the prophets, man. And that's all done through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. These men who are in the spirit of taking vengeance to their own hands, they're not a part of the church, man. They're not a part of the spiritual temple of believers, man. That's why Paul wrote in the book of Romans, you know, to the province of Rome, you know, which is a church of Israelites, you know, to the Israelites dwelling in Rome, better yet, not to avenge themselves. Because what did you have in Rome? Well, you had a group and a sect, you know, called the Sicarii, and other zealots who were looking to not follow after, you know, the laws of the land, not pay taxes, and looking to avenge and take matters into their own hands. We'll get to that in a second. 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. And we're pulling down all these strongholds, you know. Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken, her idols are confounded, exposing all these religions for what they are. False religions, man, that go back to paganism. There's only one true power of heaven and earth, and his name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. Second Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and bringing into captivity every thought of the obedience of Hamashiach Yahushai, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself, I'm going to read again, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High. These strongholds are being cast down, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, through the prophets. And Esau Edom's salty, so he has to use false flags, staged events, crisis actors, to try to create a narrative, man. And that narrative's not going to be true. It's not going to be fair, They're going to use sensationalism, like the elder Yashawamba said, vocab alone's going to pop up, do a documentary. It's not going to be fair, man. These things have to happen, though. This is all part of biblical prophecy, man. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And what are his devices? Well, witchcraft, sorcery, man. Lying, deception, doing evil, and then, poof, be gone. Oh, you did it now. Running pedophilia rings, the Roman Catholic Church that has a $4 billion lawsuit, for nastiness and just disgusting behavior, and then switching around the narrative and using things like these type of headlines, and saying you did it. That's Esau, man. He said that none seeth me, but we see you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yashai. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yep. And going into what came out a little earlier, you're going to have certain men who are not going to be in the right spirit, and they're going to try to avenge themselves and take matters into their own hands. But we don't condone that or preach that or forward that message. Exodus 14:14, this is in the law. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. You shall hold your peace, man. Avenge not yourselves. And what you have, you had certain sects of Israelites living in Rome and in Jerusalem in the Roman captivity who are looking to take matters into their own hands. Groups like the Sakari, man, and they're back now, calling themselves the Sakari, calling themselves one body in Yahweh Shai, not wanting to wait on Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, not wanting to wait on the deliverance, saying that, doing that is weak-minded, which is another lesson, but hey, it's coming out right now. So Romans 12:19, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves. Let's go down to 17, Romans 12:17. This is Paul writing to the Israelites who were living in Rome, because you had men who were looking to do this. That's why you had to write these letters, because you had a lot of men, who were hearing the teachings of these men, and some of them were starting to fall away and follow these men. And a lot of those men who followed those men died. Let that sink in. Romans 12:17, recompense no evil, recompense, it's like in Romans 12:17, recompense to no man evil for evil. So even though Esau Edom, he's a murderer, we're living on stolen land right now, They're about to celebrate the pagan holiday of Thanksgiving tomorrow, Christmas as well, which all is idolatry. You're not supposed to take matters into your own hands. We see our people getting gunned down in the street. That's all judgment from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. I create peace and make evil. I, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, do all these things. And there's none that can be delivered out of his hands. Once Yahweh Bashim Yahushai set judgment for you, man, there's nothing that can stop that. And wicked men understand not judgment. So when these things happen, we don't get all in all over, man, because these things happen because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai set it up. But we're not supposed to go out there and take to the streets, march up and down the streets with a fist up in the air, which actually goes back to Canaanite deities and the gods of the Canaanites and the Egyptians, which they were doing back in Egypt. That's why the Lord told us not to follow after the ways of the Egyptians. That's in the law as well. Let's get it. Slack if I'm a little all over the place. Leviticus 18. And the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, your power. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, ye shall not do. What were they doing in Egypt? Well, the Egyptians were big homos, man. That's why the pharaohs would put lipstick and makeup and eyeliner on and shit. They were also into idolatry, witchcraft, sorcery. After the doings of the land of Egypt, sacrificing to Molech, putting their children through the fire. After the doings of the land of Egypt wherein ye dwelt, ye shall not do. After the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. And what was Jake doing back there? Being wicked, following after the ancient Egyptians. And you have Jake in this modern day captivity, Rome 2.0, Slakia, who think that they're fucking Africans and shit, man. Thinking that they're Canaanites. Thinking that they're Hamites. And once again, who do we have to blame for that? Esau. Esau told you he was fucking African, which is a lie. Bullshit. And excuse my French, but it's coming out. Romans 12:17. Recompense to no man evil for evil, provide things honest in the sight of all men. Avenge not yourselves. Romans 12:18. If it be possible, as much as lieth within you, live peaceably with all men. If it be possible. Now you're not going to walk down the street and an Edomite come and punch you in the face and, not stand up for yourself. That's dumb. But at the same time, we're not to go out there seeking to take matters into our own hands. If it be possible, live peaceably with all men. That way you're blameless. Romans 12:19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. And that's in the law. I'm going to get that in a second, if the Spirit allows. Adon Rathazah. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourself, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. I'll repay, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He is going to take vengeance. It was supposed to wait on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Wait ye upon me. Exodus 14:14. The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Hold your peace. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me. And that's what we tell the sincere followers and listeners. Wait ye upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me. We're not supposed to go out there and do this type of bullshit, man. This is ultimately, a renegade. If this is actually true, and a person that's looking to take matters into their own hands. Just like Paul had to write that letter to the, you know, Israelites living in Rome, not to follow after the Sicarii and the Zealots who were looking to take matters into their own hands, who were looking to avenge themselves, you know, who thought it was weak to wait on the Messiah. And those men are back in their lot at the end of days. And so are the sincere followers, servants of prophecy, Yahweh Shem Shai, and the believers. And what are we supposed to do? Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. Where? In the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, so we can burn up their armies, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. Salakia. I'm gonna start from the top. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine fierce anger, even all my indignation, to pour upon them mine indignation, Slakia, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Now, if we go into this precept, that's 7 possessive statements that he made, Yahweh Shem Shai made in this precept right here. A complete number of possessive statements, 7 being the number of completion. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. To me belongeth vengeance. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. And what are we in the spirit of? Hastening the return of our Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, the year of hastening. And to the Lord belongeth vengeance, man, not us. Let's read it again. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. This isn't a law, which these zealots, boast in currently, modern day, and back in the day, the zealots beforehand, if they would have read this and knew the understanding of it, they'd have realized that they were in the wrong spirit. But Yahweh Shem Shai set that up perfectly so that we can read about those guys in secular history and so on and so forth, and realize that those guys were off, man, just like they're off currently. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the thing that shall come upon them make haste. And that's rightfully so. The things that shall come upon them. Well, their kingdom is being eradicated right before your very eyes. Dollar's about to crash. Famine's on the way. Your allies are starting to turn on you. The EU said that it couldn't rely on Babylon the Great no more to defend them. Russia's holding joint military exercises with China. People aren't starting to believe your lies. People are starting to not believe your lies anymore. You got Karen out there, leading the charge for the anti-Juicy Juice protests. Bel is confounded. Babylon is taken, man. Going back to Jeremiah 50 and 2. It's got to come out again. Declare ye among the nations. And that's what we're doing. Declaring this word among the nations. Lifting up the banner upon the high mountain. That high mountain is Esau, Edom's kingdom. And the banners of scriptures. Declare ye among the nations and publish. Publish what? This word, this doctrine, the report. And set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. And that's the report. And that's why Esau, Edom, pretty soon he's going to have to take the prophets off the internet. Because this word is tearing them up. This report is burning down his kingdom, piece by piece, just like you know, just like it's supposed to do, you know. Where's that? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yep. Wisdom of Solomon 10:9. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. And you got to have wisdom in these last days. You got to move wisely, Why? Because the devil walketh about, seeing whom he may devour. Esau, Edom, is looking to devour you, man, and sift you as wheat. Wisdom of Solomon 10:10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath. The righteous is going into the remnant, fleeing from who? Esau's wrath. And how do we flee? By staying in the by staying in the spirit, man. Had an idea and had a precept. I'll just read it real quick. Psalms, the 91st chapter. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And that's how we flee from our brother's wrath, staying under the shadow of the Almighty, dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. This truth, dwelling in this word, staying occupied in prophecies, listening, being attentive, watching, praying, studying, fasting. Wisdom of Solomon 10:10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in the right paths, showed him the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and gave him knowledge of holy things. And what is what came out a little earlier? Yep. And this is what this truth is doing. It's able to cast down imagination. 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting, let's get the fourth verse as well. 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought of the obedience of Hamashiach Yahushai. And it's casting down imaginations, man. That's what this truth is doing. And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High. But wisdom is going to be able to preserve you, and keep you from the wrath of Esau, Edom. And you only get wisdom because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has love for you, in the form of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Wisdom of Solomon 10:10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of the Most High, and gave him knowledge of holy things. And what does the knowledge also do? It's casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High. Wisdom of Solomon 10:10 from the top. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of the Most High, and gave him knowledge of holy things. And this truth is casting down everything that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and made him rich in his travels, and multiplied the fruits of his labors. And wisdom shall preserve thee, it shall keep thee from the man that speaketh forward things. Let's get that as well. Didn't want to make this too long, but hey, sometimes we don't have control of that. Better yet, we don't have control of that all the time. Sometimes it's like that. Yep. Proverbs 2:10. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and the Hebrew word for heart is la'ab, which is your mind. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, and understanding shall keep thee. to deliver thee from the way of the evil man. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man that speaketh forward things. Let's go to the last precept. I think I'll wrap up right here. Matthew 16:18. This is in the Gospels right here. And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. The gates of hell shall not prevail against this truth, man. You know? Peter being the head of the church, you know? Let's read this again and close on out. And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock will I build my church. That rock is Yahweh Shai, you know, the truth, the scriptures, the word, you know. And I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Let's just prove that real quick. Deuteronomy 32. Let's read the whole thing down to 4. Give ear, O ye heavens. O ye heavens, you know, the spiritual temple, the believers, you know. Give ear, O ye heavens, for the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yashai dwells within you. The kingdom come not with observation, lo here, lo there, for the kingdom of Yahweh is within you, roughly paraphrasing. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, O hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Declare ye among the nations. Deuteronomy 32:3. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew. As the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord. Ascribe ye greatness unto our power. Publish, conceal not, you know. The name of the Lord, if you go to that word name, it goes into report, and report goes into doctrine. Because I will publish the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai. Ascribe ye greatness unto our power. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a power of truth, and without iniquity, just and right is he. He is the rock, you know. Matthew 16:18, and I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock, this doctrine, this truth, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, the doctrine of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So no matter what you do, how many enchantments you throw out, how many accusations, how many false flags, how many crisis actors you get crying on the side, how many jacked up media reports you get, 100 bodies laying in the street, that's not going to be able to prevail against the elect, man. There's no enchantment against Jacob, you know. Let's get one of the classics in the Gospels, Matthew 24:24. Yep, for there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and Esau Edom, so false prophet, a physician of no value as well, and shall show great signs and wonders. And what are these? Great signs and wonders, man. Accusations, lies. Stand now without enchantments, man. It's not going to work. The gates of hell shall not prevail against the elect. For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Key word, if it were possible. Matthew 16:18 again. I think I'll close on out right here. And I say also unto thee, thou that thou art Peter, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. But these things have to happen so the undesirables can be sifted as wheat, and so Jacob's trouble can eventually come, and more things will happen. But the gates of hell shall not prevail against us. Adon Rathazah, Yahweh Rathazah, we endure unto the end. So with that, I'd like to close on out, and in closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. And until next time, Lord's will tonight, about 8 p.m., 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Shalom. DTA, Abba Babal. Soon. Shalom.